And I explained through that story how important it was for me to learn how to turn negatives into positives. And rather than to sit around and sulk or to completely be embarrassed, because I talk about in a humorous way how my older cousin joked on me when laughed at my haircut when I came outside the barbershop. And in this journey, it is the younger Tyrell going through that story, but it's a story that has resonated with so many other people. In the memoir, it resonated with other middle school kids and adults who read the book. But
all right, hello everyone, and welcome back to Big Words Authors 76. I have a special guest for this one, and this is the first guest on this channel. We've linked up before on my original channel, but I wanted to link up over here because I wanted to start this channel to just capture my writing journey, but I also wanted to collaborate with other authors and hear about their author journeys and hear about their works as well. So with that, I have with me fellow Johnson C. Smith University alumnus, Tyrell Hughes. Tyrell, welcome.
Hey, Anwar, it is a pleasure to spin the block with you for the second time, but for this time being on this new platform. I know we just ended homecoming season, but I'm still going to start off by saying happy homecoming, my friend.
All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, I was not there. I was on my author journey. Yep. And I was a little disappointed when I saw they moved the date, because I was actually thinking about, okay, end of October, the Johnson C. Smith University homecoming is usually the end of October, so I'll see about going, and then end of September. So I was like, why?
That was it.
Yeah. So, really quickly, for those watching, definitely please smash that like button and also consider subscribing to the channel. Smashing the like button, that helps out a great deal with YouTube in terms of the engagement. All right, so author journeys. So Tyrell, I asked Tyrell to come and talk about his second book. All right, The Big Chop.
Let's go.
All right. Before we jump into that, though, now, to the audience, there are some guests who want to see what they're going to talk about, and there are some fearless guests who say, you know what, just shoot them at me, and we'll just see what happens. So Tyrell falls in that second group. So Tyrell, so for those who don't know, because I know the Smithites watching, they will know, but who is Tyrell Hughes? And what is the back community? Because you do have your own community and platform. So first of all, who is Tyrell Hughes for those who don't know you?
Tyrell Hughes is just a kid from Arbor Hill in Albany, New York. I am a father of three, a husband to I am a husband to my beautiful wife, Jean. Of 11 years, 13 together. I am an author 2 times, soon to be 17 once I complete this project. I'll tell you more about that later. I am a financial analyst by profession with the federal government. And then through my business, the Back Community, I have a consulting group that I run where I teach people about their behavior with finances. I teach individuals how to write and go through the authoring process if you want to be a self-publishing author. And then what most people know me for is my bread and butter is my mentoring. I've been mentoring young men for over 20-something years now, and that's what most people know me for, and my work in the community. I think working with young men has been an integral part of me developing as a man and being able to connect with that audience, because I once was considered to be a troubled youth.
Okay.
That's Tyrell in a nutshell.
Okay. Well, our running joke is I call Tyrell the most interesting man in the world. And if you read his first book, you will see why. We're going to come back to that. And by the way, me and Tyrell, we have that in common. He's from Albany. I was born in Albany. And so we both have roots to the New York State capital
Let's
city.
go.
Yeah. In addition to Johnson C. Smith University. So Tyrell, before we get to your books, since this is a writing and author's channel, I wanted to ask you what inspired you to want to become an author?
The realization that one, I'm not going to be here for forever, right? And I do believe that the things that I've been able to go through and come out somewhat unscathed deserve to be told. Like I said, man, mentoring has been a crucial part of my own development. So writing was, in essence, an opportunity to leave a blueprint for a lot of other young men or people who are interested in getting to know that community of why we behave the way that we do, whether that is pursuing women, whether that is pursuing gangs, whether that is making mistakes and learning how to overcome those mistakes. And I really believe that I got saved for a reason. And it would be selfish of me to keep those journeys or those stories to myself, because I don't think a lot of people go through what I've gone through and are able to come out on the other side and tell the story and explain it in a way that people can really relate to. So I wanted to become an author to help change and motivate and inspire other individuals.
Okay. So for those watching, I am going to leave the link to me and Tyrell's first interview below, which focuses exclusively on his first book, Just a from Arbor Hill. See, I have my Tyrell Hughes library here, and so that was your motivation for writing Just a Kid from Arbor Hill is that you went through some unique experiences growing up. You made it through to the other side, to be successful, to have a family, to now be able to give back. But that was your motivation for writing your first book, correct?
Yep, correct. So, and like I said, the first book is a memoir, memoir of my earlier life, and it'll tell everything from, like I said, being kicked out of high school to changing my life around when I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, to attend Johnson C. Smith, moving out of the country to Morocco and learning how to speak Arabic and French, stuff like that. So, but the bigger portion of it is that my story is just as much relatable to other people. And I didn't really realize it. I thought that it was something unique to me, but the more I got out, the more I interact with other people and I hear other people's stories and be like, well, that same thing happened to me too. And then you just realize that you know, there's a and my story is just a kid from Arbor Hill, but there's a kid everywhere in this world who has a similar story and a desire to come from where they are to get to things that they have never seen. And what I tried to do was to tell people it doesn't matter where you start, but how you finish and how you learn and grow along the way. And having a growth mindset is a huge part of that.
Okay. So a funny story related to this book, everyone, is Tyrell. I think it's probably on the back community site. We'll take a look at that before we wrap up. You smiling because you know what I'm going to get at. Tyrell showed a picture. He posted a picture of himself as a teen, and he said, "Pick me out of the six guys there." And I had to look, and I couldn't because it was a picture. It looked like at a nightclub, and growing up in the inner city in the '90s, you know, that was the era of the Lost Boys and Bad Boy and all these different things. And I met Tyrell. I started getting to know Tyrell in the Johnson C. Smith University, Washington, D.C. alumni chapter. So he was vice president. So he's chairing meetings, and calling us to order and guiding us through, being very presidential. And so I really had to look at that picture and say, well, which one is Tyrell? And it was, and you were doing the gun pose, right? And you had cornrows. And so I was floored when I saw it, because like I never would have thought that was you, because that looks like a totally different person.
Anwar, all I can say is that, I think, one, thinking about that picture for me, I was probably 15, 16 years old in the picture, right? Might have been a little bit older than that. Might have been 16, but I'm in an all adult club. And that was probably 2000, a joint in Albany called Millennium Nightclub, right? And I just talk about all of these experiences that I had at such a young age, whether that was going from nightclubs or hanging out in the streets or chasing ladies and stuff like that. And those experiences really did shape me earlier to have a different outlook on the world for myself. And I don't really think that, like you said, you got a chance to meet me later, right? So the earlier outlook that I had, it hadn't grown. It wasn't as expansive. For me, it was just like my immediate neighborhood and the wars that we had from the neighboring parts of town, but it really wasn't expansive. It didn't include the fact that I would later grow from what meant so much to me at that time to realizing that, there's a world out here that grows, that extends a lot further than Arbor Hill. So
yes, much of what you described in Just a Kid from Arbor Hill, that sounds like a lot of young men growing up in the inner city. I mean, I'm a lot different than I was when I was in my teens. And as I was thinking about other artists of that time, like Mobb Deep and Wu-Tang, and those were all influences on young people, young men, back then. You know what? We're gonna go off script for a minute here, because as you were telling your story, your brief overview of Just a Kid from Arbor Hill, I was thinking about the autobiography of Malcolm X. Tyrell, what were some of the as you were writing this, and even up through your teens to now, what were some of the books that rubbed off on you and influenced you?
So the crazy part is that the first book that I can really remember that had an impact on me, I want to say the guy's name was Joseph Jennings, right? Mm-hmm. He ended up coming to my middle school and talking to us there. And on the cover of his book was him, and I think he had like an AK-47 or something like that in his hands. And I just remember being fascinated by the cover of the book. And it was because at the time I didn't do much reading, because I had given up on reading already, because we used to have what's called a RIF, reading is fundamental. And if you read enough books, you'll get a personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut. So I used to read all of the Goosebumps books and stuff like that when I was younger. But because we didn't have a car in the Hughes household at the time, whenever I would get these certificates to get me a free personal pan pizza, I could never cash them in. And at some point, I eventually realized that I was never going to be able to cash in these gift cards to Pizza Hut, so I stopped reading. But it wasn't until Joseph Jennings came to the school, and I loved his story, that I actually picked up reading again. And I just remember diving into his book, and I'm just like, it was so vivid for me. Like I could picture everything that he was describing. And I think it was the cover of this book for me. It was him, like I said, on the cover of the book with an AK-47, and then meeting him in real life made me take the time to actually go and enjoy learning about his story.
Okay. If I recall correctly, when you were growing up, your mother was you spent the bulk of your time with your mother. Did your mother really encourage you to read?
My mother encouraged me to learn. So whether that came from reading, whether that came from common sense, she was always an advocate of learning. And when I was younger, my mom, we had a library, we had long blocks. So from Clinton Avenue up to Washington Avenue at the time. So she would always encourage us to learn more than what we were expected to learn in school. So like if she would always say like, well, you need to know more than what they expect you to know. So that was something that stood out to me and it never left me. And it was always like, well, okay, so this is what I'm required to know, but how can I pick up these little small intricate details that's going to help me along the way? And like I said, whether that was academically or a street smarts or common sense, my mom was a huge advocate of learning. And, I'm still like that to this day. So I genuinely enjoy learning.
Okay, the reason I wanted to ask that, I know that in my home, reading was encouraged, and we had encyclopedias, and my head was always in one of the encyclopedias about just random stuff. And at a certain age, me and my brother had comic books, and and when I got interested in basketball, I was reading these NBA yearbooks. But I'm saying this to say that it matters. It matters if your parents, if your mom encourages you to do that, and if they take an active role in your education and your literacy journey in particular in this instance. So I think that people need to just be mindful of that in this time when we're getting more digital and where in some instances reading is falling by the wayside. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you that.
I got to add to it and just say that, I think I've understood the importance and the significance of it for myself so much that for my kids, before they get on their electronics, especially the two younger ones who are 9 and 7, they have to read and then give a summary, write a summary of what it is that they read every Saturday. Once we start the weekend off, of course, the first thing they want to do is to grab their iPads. It's like, hey, it's the weekend, let's have some fun. And it's like, no, they can't get on their electronic devices until 9 o'clock. So they come down at 7 o'clock, they'll start reading, and then they'll do the activities that we have for them. And then they can go off and do their thing. But reading is important. So to your point, right, we are our kids' first teacher. So they're going to take to whatever it is that we take to or we encourage. And my kids come and get snuggled up with me in the library upstairs, and they just know that it's time to read. Dad's over here reading his book. It's our turn to come and read. Because by the time they come downstairs, I've already been downstairs since 5 o'clock. So by the time they come downstairs, Dad's over here. They come get snuggled up next to me, and then they start reading, and that's just that's our thing. But it's encouraged by me, and it's been, like I said, something like learning more and knowing the influence of reading. Or just learning in general was something that my mom instilled within me early.
Okay, so before we get to the big chop, let's stay off script for just a little bit longer. By the way, everybody, this is one of your boys right here on the cover, correct?
Yes, yep. That's my middle son, Dominic, in front of our home in New York.
So how do you and your wife manage? You talked about it just briefly, but how do you manage the technology in regards to their education? It sounds like you have them read.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it's I would be lying if I said that we had it down to a science and we can totally get it, because sometimes out of sheer convenience we allow the kids to go ahead and get on their devices, whether we're traveling or here at home and we're doing our own projects. We both work, my wife and I both work for the federal government, and then we both own our own businesses, multiple businesses outside of that. So sometimes it's just out of sheer convenience that we allow the kids to get on their own products, electronics. But we definitely try to be mindful to do other activities. So we have game nights, we have movie nights. Game nights might incur us playing Monopoly on the Switch or something like that, which is pretty dope for those of you guys who are used to playing Monopoly on the actual board. playing Monopoly on the Switch is next level because the banker can't cheat, and everything is calculated for you. It's automated, and it allows the game to go through a lot faster. But we do those activities with the kids on top of the fact going outside to play soccer or throw the football or whatever it is, making sure that they get outside time. It's like, no, get off your electronics and go do something else. So,
Okay. It sounds okay. So, staying on reading, a really interesting book that I have in my library here is called The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. And that it sounds like you and your wife are being very, very vigilant about making sure that your sons have time in the real world versus getting completely lost in the digital world, but also your engagement with them, that you're making sure they're socialized in a healthy way. Because one of the arguments of that book is that past 2012, children had more of a quote unquote phone-based childhood versus a play-based childhood. So it sounds like you guys have been very, 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 very deliberate about making sure they have that play-based aspect as well.
yeah.
Hey all, a brief advertisement here. I too am a self-published author and my book is entitled The Engineers of Western New York Basketball Story Part 1, Innocent Basketball Dreams. If you've never heard of me or my book, I've created a background/overview page for it on my Big Words Authors Writers blog site. There you'll find a background description of Part 1 and the forthcoming Part 2. At the bottom of the page, there are video offerings, promotional essays, and notable interviews relating to the book. If you look at any of these materials, consider leaving a comment, liking them, and sharing them in your network and on your social media. You can purchase a signed hardcover or paperback copy of The Engineers of Western New York Basketball Story Part 1 at the Big Words Authors online store. Coupon codes are available upon inquiry, and the shipping and handling fees are built into the listed prices. The ebook, paperback, and hardcover editions are also available on Amazon. The links to these materials are below in the description box along with the guest author's information. Thank you for your time and consideration, and now back to the interview.
All right, let's segue from just a kid from Arbor Hill to the Big Chop. So, well, first of all, everybody, I shouted Tyrell out on social media for his exquisite customer service. I ordered this book first thing Monday morning before I went to work, and I got home on Wednesday. My mind drained from my day at the job, and I saw this package. I was like, "What is this?" It's like, did I order something? I forgot that I ordered something, and I opened it up, and it was Tyrell's book. So just 5-star customer service. So
Thank you.
Take good care of you. So the Big Chop. So I can guess about what the title means because I read the first book. But what do you want to talk about the Big Chop and what it is and what the title means?
Absolutely. So the Big Chop is the first in a series of 16 books, right? So my memoir, Just a Kid from Arbor Hill, A Story of Beating the Odds, has been adapted into 16 illustrated children's books. And the Big Chop is the first of the 16. And if you look at the chapters in my memoir, the 16 books for the illustrated books are following that line. So in the Big Chop, it talks about the overarching theme or the lesson for young adults in that book is to realize that you can turn negatives into positives. And what I did was I took an experience where I needed to go get a haircut that went horribly wrong. And I was distraught as a young person in the 6th grade, just like, man, what am I going to do? And I explained through that story how important it was for me to learn how to turn negatives into positives. And rather than to sit around and sulk or to completely be embarrassed, because I talk about in a humorous way how my older cousin joked on me when laughed at my haircut when I came outside the barbershop. And in this journey, it is the younger Tyrell going through that story, but it's a story that has resonated with so many other people. In the memoir, it resonated with other middle school kids and adults who read the book. But I've had the chance to read this book several times already to younger adults. And the question I always get, the number one question is, why was your cousin so mean to you? Or how much older was your cousin to you and stuff like that? And the kids will be like, well, I had a bad haircut, and I was a young male telling me I had a bad haircut, or a girl saying, well, I had a bad haircut too, right? And just realizing that our hair is associated with our confidence and how we feel about ourselves. And sometimes those experiences can either be negative or positive, but they ultimately shape our confidence about who we are and how we look and how we show up to other people. And through the Big Chop, I've been able to illustrate that though some things may happen that are negative or might not go as you would have liked it to go, there's still a silver lining in every story if you choose to look for it, and you can learn how to turn negatives into positives. So I took a bad haircut experience and I decided to grow out my hair. And that's why it was called the Big Chop, because I went in for a baldy to get completely, I wanted all my hair gone, and the barber didn't give me that. And he gave me this haircut that was unacceptable. And I walked out and got chastised by my older cousin, Nick. And that's what I talk about in the book. And it's been resonating with the younger audience that in which I wrote it for very well. And I'm extremely thankful.
Okay. As you were describing that, going back to the book I mentioned, The Anxious Generation, I was thinking about the concept of anti-fragility. And it seems that that's what you're conveying here, is having that resilience, or developing that resilience, and being able to bounce back and turn negatives into positives, which is actually a life skill, because not every day is going to be rosy. You just have to go to work to understand that. But what did you feel like, as the author, in terms of a need for that messaging, did you feel like that that's something that young people, young boys, or maybe young Black boys, young Black girls, that they're not getting as much of that today? Or did you feel like this is just a universal theme that we need to pass on for society to go on?
To be perfectly honest, I think it is something that needs to be highlighted and focused on even more, because I think this generation probably has the most engaged parents in terms of our emotional intelligence, our finances, and the fact that we understand the impact. Like, kids spell love by time, how much time you give with them, how much time you spend with them or on them and stuff like that. But I think that because we're so attentive and active, that we ultimately end up weakening our kids too, because we're so busy trying to answer things for them or help them to figure it out, rather than give them a situation and allow them to figure it out, or to say, well, this is what happened. Like, hey, you hit your knee. Like, I'm going to rush in as an active dad and be like, hey, well, next time you should do it this way, or this could have been avoided if you did that, or whatever. Sometimes you just got to let a person sit with what's happening so that they can examine it, they can internalize it and say what it is that they learned from it, rather than us imposing our adult beliefs on a kid who thinks totally opposite from us. And I think that's what builds the resiliency. That's what builds the character. So taking that example, I talk about how I wanted to show out so many times, but at every step, I kept reminding myself internally that if I do this, I'm going to get in trouble with my mom. If I do this, I'm going to get in trouble with my mom. And it helped to keep me in check. But, I do think that allowing our kids to fail or to not be the best at something is a skill, and it's needed. To build resiliency, to learn how to fight back when things don't go your way.
Yeah, I'm gonna geek out for a minute here and invoke Malcolm Gladwell, which you described sounds an awful lot like the inverted U-shaped curve. So this applies to wealthy families. You're a money guy. Up to a certain point, they say, passing on wealth to your children or to somebody, it can be helpful, but after a certain point, it becomes harmful because you actually weaken them and you entitle them, and they don't have that get up and go to go and earn for themselves. And the same thing is true that if you coddle too much, they don't learn that resilience. They don't learn how to dust themselves off and figure it out, or to go back in the game, or to go back out and play. So that resilience, that's important. That's very important.
Yeah. Listen, you talk about finances. I think finances is crucial when you align it with that same idea, because if, like, imagine inheriting a bunch of money, but you were never taught how to manage money. You were never taught how to budget, right? Or imagine having this thing that I hate, this thing called entitlement. And I think this generation has more entitlement than ever. And I think that society shows us that sometimes when your parents have accomplished so much, your children sometimes feel as if they don't have to do as much because you've already done more. So I'm just going to enjoy the fruits of your labor. There's nothing else for me to go out and to conquer or accomplish. And I think that, our kids need to be taught skills and behaviors that's really going to help them to become independent. And in a lot of ways, we have to stop trying to protect them from everything and allow them to build that wherewithal and some of that resilience that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, well, there are just this one point. There are directions we can take this in terms of government policy and economics, but we don't have time tonight. Your time is super valuable. My time is super valuable, so I don't want to turn this into a 2-hour a 2-hour discussion. So we'll move on. All right. So Tyrell, so this is just one of several. So there's going to be a whole series.
Yes.
Coming, and these will be for specifically for young people, or teens or tweens or what.
These series of books are all going to be children's illustrated books for the younger population. So I would like to say it begins to resonate as early as as grade 2. So, but if you're a reader, it could very easily resonate with you before that. My kids were up and reading before they even got into actual school. So it just really depends. So I took my boys with me to a daycare maybe about a week or two ago. And I actually had them read the book to some students at a daycare. And the daycare had really small children who were still learning how to read. And then they had some children who are already in kindergarten and stuff like that too. But, and I think that all of the books are going to be geared towards that crowd, typically in elementary school. And realizing that, I think some people have this disillusion, Anwar, that our kids aren't as mature or aware of the different things that are going on in the world. So we try to avoid having conversations with them about it.
Mhm.
And I'm not that type of parent. I literally had a conversation about slavery on the way to school with my kids today. And it's just like, I'm not going to avoid different conversations. I'd much rather you hear it from me and we can walk through it and talk through different things so that you have a good enough understanding at it at your age, of course, your level of maturity. But yeah, so it's going to be for elementary school kids, and specifically because there's concepts in the older book, and the level of detail or graphicness that goes on in the older book and in the memoir obviously wouldn't be so appropriate for this for the younger children. But I realized that there were concepts in each of the chapters throughout the book that we were able to translate into that language that would easily resonate with children in elementary school as well.
Okay. All right. Well, I think an appropriate way to wrap this up is we could show people where they can get a copy of the Big
Nice.
Chop. So I have the Bat community site queued up here, and I'll pass the mic over to you. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. You bring us back here. Okay, so you learn by doing. Let's see.
Well, that's okay. While you got it, while you do your thing on your end, I'll go ahead and tell everybody about it. So, this is the website. This is my website to the Bat community, and where you can find all things related to my books and merch, related to Just a Kid from Arbor Hill or the Bat community. For those who don't know, the Bat community, like I said, it's several things, but what most people know what most people are familiar with is our podcast. I have a podcast of maybe with about a little bit over 12,000 subscribers, and I like to interview and highlight individuals and organizations doing positive things throughout the world and sometimes out of the country. But here is where you can go ahead and shop and purchase hardcover versions, paperback versions. All of the hardcovers come with a personalized message in each of those that will be catered to the purchaser of those. And then there's different merch that you can buy if you feel that you are just a kid from Arbor Hill as well, or different merch for the Bat community.
Okay. All right, so everybody, I'm going to leave the link to Tyrell's store in the description box of this video, so you can go and purchase his items if you choose to do so. Hopefully you choose to do so for yourself or for someone that the holiday season is coming up. So that link will be below in the description box. All right, Tyrell, so I want to respect your time, and I, of course, appreciate you coming here and being my first guest on this platform. Do you have any other stories, thoughts, or words for the audience?
Well, I will leave this with the audience first. Hopefully you do go to the website, get you some merch, get you some books. As Anwar has it up, I got some over here on my end too. And you can see I came prepared. So I'm wearing a hoodie that you can get as well as it pertains to the Big Chop. So, but I will say that, chase your dreams, right? Time is not infinite, it is finite. And if there is something that you're interested in, there's something that you're passionate about, go out and pursue those things. You will be surprised how many people there are in the world that will help you to get to where it is that you're trying to get to. Most of us are too afraid to even ask the simple questions of how did you do this, or what would you suggest? And I would like to say this, that there's more people out here in the world who are actually willing to help you than you can ever imagine. And you have to be fearless enough to step outside of your own comfort zone, to go out and get linked up or associated with those people. don't get this confused. There's people of the opposite as well who will try to deter you from your path too. But I do, and I have learned that there's a lot more people out here in the world that are willing to help and eager to help if I ask the questions. So ask the questions, chase your dreams, and make sure that you're living a purposeful life.
Okay. Yes. And on that same vein, Tyrell, yeah, you were you shared some of the game with me, the self published author game with me. So I really appreciate that. That was about 3 years ago. I was sitting in my dad's house in Schenectady, and we had a phone call, and then yeah. So I appreciate you doing what you just described to help me out. So
absolutely. Listen, and thank you for my shout out in your book as well, and thank you for listening and asking. So Anwar and I ended up getting together. He came by the house and brought a Mediterranean food that I had never had
yep.
before, right? And so there's a lot of people who are willing to share. Don't just go to people when it is that you want something or it's an opportune time for you, but build genuine relationships with people and allow those relationships to open up doors for you and allow the universe to take care of the rest of it for you. But you're going to miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So, if it's something that you want to create, it's something that you want to do, go out and try it and allow the world to help to bring it all together for you. But Anwar, I really want to say thank you to you as always for your platforms. Thank you for not only being a supporter, but a champion of other authors, because I think that writing is super important and reading is super important because it increases your vernacular and the way that you interact with other people. So, thank you for being the champion of big words and creating a platform for authors to get the message out to your audience. So thank you for having me on the platform.
All right, everybody, Tyrell Hughes, and hopefully this is the first of many authors to come and talk with me. So everybody, yes, again, all of the links that I shared and discussed, those will be below in the description box. My first discussion with Tyrell, the link to the Back Community website and the store, and anything else I think should go under there. Please let me know what you think, what comments you have in the comments section below, and I'm going to wrap this up. Tyrell, you're on most social media platforms, right? I mean, you have your site, but you're on. Okay.
Yep, most social media platforms. Actually, if you go to the website will link you to my LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. But if you're looking for it, it's Tyrell Hughes on most platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn. If you're on IG, it is the official Tyrell Hughes, or the Back Community if you're looking directly for podcast content and all things the Back Community. But yep, I'm very easy to find. If you're looking to Google, pop in Tyrell Hughes, she'll lead you directly to me.
All right, thank you, Tyrell. So everyone, yes, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will talk to you the next time. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.